Be prepared. The universe isn't waiting anymore. A firestorm of energy is building. And when Mars squares Uranus, everything accelerates. Not slowly, not gently, but in a cosmic flash that forces truth to the surface. Have you felt it? The tension rising without a clear cause. The sudden urges to make drastic decisions. The strange silence before something breaks. This is not emotional chaos. It's spiritual testing. 3 tests are already unfolding. And they won't arrive with signs and warnings. They'll show up in your reactions, your impulses, your silence. Will you respond from your higher self? Or will you collapse into fear and habit? This is the kind of energy that changes destinies, not by chance, but by challenge. You are being prepared for a timeline shift that only few are ready for. But readiness is not perfection. It's awareness. So ask yourself now, are you acting or are you being triggered? Are you detaching or are you realigning? Are you losing control or being called to surrender? This alignment will shake the foundations of anything that was built in illusion. And what remains is truth. This is not just a tense square in the sky. It's a spiritual detonation point. Mars, the warrior of raw action and primal desire, is now colliding with Uranus, the unpredictable force of radical change and divine disruption. On July 18th, this alignment doesn't simply shake things, it breaks them open. Not to destroy your life, but to expose where you've been lying to yourself. To expose what no longer fits the version of you that's trying to emerge. What happens when drive meets lightning? When your will clashes with universal correction? You get tested, fast, without warning, and through the most subtle cracks in your current reality. You may have already felt it, that strange, wired sensation in your body, as if something is about to happen but you can't put your finger on it. That unease when someone speaks to you and your entire body says no before your mind can understand why. These are not mood swings. They are energetic pressure points. And the universe is watching to see what choices you'll make under this heat. Have you felt unusually reactive lately? Has your patience worn thinner than usual? Are you confronting people or patterns you usually avoid? This is the first layer of the spiritual test. Uranus isn't trying to make you angry, and it's trying to make you honest. Mars isn't trying to rush you, it's trying to make you act from alignment instead of autopilot. This is why July 18th is so crucial. The days leading up to it are setting the stage. And the square itself? It's the ignition. You are being pulled toward one of the 2 directions. Rebellion that leads to liberation, or resistance that leads to chaos. Will you choose the discomfort of truth, or the false comfort of your old cycles? There is no easy path through this alignment, but there is a true path. One that only reveals itself when you stop forcing and start listening. When you allow the chaos not to scare you, but to speak to you. It will tell you what's real. It will show you what's outdated, and if you're brave enough to face it without needing to fix it right away, it will leave you lighter, clearer, aligned. So pause, ask yourself, am I reacting from fear or responding from truth? Am I fighting for something or running from something? Mars and Uranus don't ask for perfection. They ask for presence, for honesty, for movement that comes from the soul, not the wound. This square is the beginning of a bigger cycle, one where the universe no longer lets you pretend. And the sooner you accept that, the more empowered you become. The first and loudest spiritual test arriving with this Mars-Uranus square is deceptively simple. Will you react or will you respond? One is automatic, emotional, and often destructive. The other is intentional, rooted in awareness, and aligned with your higher path. The energy around July 18th is volatile, not because it wants to harm you, but because it wants to wake you up. And the moment you feel the fire in your chest, your words, your silence, you're already being tested. This test doesn't knock on your door politely. It comes through the person who disrespects your boundary at the worst moment, through the unexpected trigger that brings up an old pain you thought you had buried, through a sudden desire to cut everything and everyone off just to feel safe. That impulse to explode or run, that's Mars. That internal whisper asking you to pause, to breathe, to observe, that's your awakening. The universe isn't grading you on how calm you look. It's asking, are you still a slave to your old nervous system? Or have you begun to rewire yourself for presence? Have you noticed lately how fast your body reacts when something doesn't feel right? Like your entire system lights up before you can even process what's wrong? That's not irrational. That's intuitive intelligence. But the test is what you do with that alert. Do you let it control you, or do you decode it? Mars wants movement. Uranus wants truth. So this first test is about channeling that surge, not into destruction, but into discernment. You're allowed to be angry. But are you aware of why you're angry? You're allowed to be triggered, but can you ask where the trigger is pointing? This isn't spiritual bypassing, it's spiritual mastery. The ability to stand inside your own storm and not lose yourself in it. Let's be honest. How many times in the past did you burn bridges in the name of protection, only to realize you were acting from fear, not clarity? This is the chance to choose differently, to choose presence. Because every trigger right now is a doorway, and if you walk through it consciously, you gain power. If you react impulsively, you repeat the past. So ask yourself, who or what is activating me right now? What story am I telling myself in this moment of heat? Am I choosing my soul's evolution, or just defending my old identity? This is a test you pass not with words, but with silence, with breath, with the radical choice to respond from awareness, not adrenaline. And the more you do that, the more the universe opens. Because Mars-Uranus isn't here to punish, it's here to refine, to carve you into someone who no longer runs from fire, but walks through it illuminated. As the Mars-Uranus alignment deepens, the second test rises, quieter but more destabilizing than the first. This is the test of isolation. But not the healthy solitude where you hear your soul. This is the seductive disconnection that whispers, no one understands you. Pull away. Disappear. In the days surrounding July 18th, the spiritual energy becomes electric and unpredictable. Your nervous system may feel overwhelmed. Your emotions may feel contradictory. And in this intensity, your old defense mechanisms return, especially the one that says, retreat completely, hide, disconnect from everything and everyone. This test doesn't want you to be lonely. It wants to see if you've healed enough to stop hiding. You might feel tired without cause, hypersensitive to sound, overwhelmed by technology, and suddenly irritated by people who once felt neutral. Your aura is recalibrating, but your ego interprets it as danger. That's when the urge to isolate becomes extreme. Not to recharge, but to escape. And that's the subtle difference that defines this test. Have you caught yourself wanting to push away those who care about you, even when they've done nothing wrong? Felt like you're on a completely different planet energetically, unable to explain yourself? That isn't a sign that you're failing. It's a signal that the old self wants to survive. It wants to cocoon you in loneliness, because loneliness feels familiar. But this alignment isn't about repeating cycles. It's about learning how to hold your uniqueness without needing to disappear. Mars triggers your sense of survival. Uranus shatters your routines. And together, they shake the illusion that you're only safe when alone. The deeper truth? You're being asked to integrate, to stay present with others while still remaining loyal to yourself, to sit at the table with the world and still hear your soul whispering in the noise. What would it feel like to share your truth, even when your voice shakes? What would it change if you let someone witness your transformation instead of going through it alone? The test here isn't just energetic, it's relational. The universe is watching how you navigate this liminal space, this threshold where you're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. Do you abandon yourself for belonging? Or do you isolate so deeply that you miss the support designed to guide you through? You don't have to perform your evolution, but you also don't have to protect it with silence. Integration means being able to show up, messy, raw, half-formed, and still let love in. This portal isn't just about awakening, it's about connection. The higher frequencies can only ground through relationship, with self, with others, with source. So while your instincts might scream, retreat, your soul may be asking you to remain, not everywhere, not with everyone, but in the spaces where truth is possible. Pass this test by recognizing when isolation is healing and when it's just fear in disguise. When Mars squares Uranus, the universe stops whispering and starts shaking. This isn't the kind of test that comes with gentle signs or quiet nudges. It's the type that tears through comfort zones and exposes what can no longer be part of your journey. But here's the question. When something breaks under this energy, is it truly destruction? Or is it redirection in disguise? Have you recently lost something suddenly? A plan that unraveled, a relationship that cracked open, an opportunity that disappeared without warning. This energy doesn't wait for your readiness. It doesn't consult your schedule. It shows up with urgency and purpose. And often, it will remove the very thing you were clinging to, not to punish, but to liberate. Because what Mars and Uranus understand is this. Transformation requires momentum, and momentum doesn't come from stillness. It comes from disruption. That job that fell through may have been keeping you small. That person who left might have been blocking your emotional expansion. That dream that crumbled could have been a vision built on outdated values. So ask yourself now, is what's leaving truly a loss? Or is it a gateway? One of the hardest truths to accept in this energetic climate is that not everything is meant to survive the upgrade. Sometimes the higher path isn't about gaining more, it's about releasing what can't rise with you. And the moment you surrender the need to control every outcome, The redirection reveals its gift. Uranus doesn't destroy for fun, it clears space for clarity. And Mars, with its fire, gives you the courage to step into that space, even when it's unfamiliar. Together, they rip away illusions, so that what remains is raw, real, and ready. You may feel like everything is shifting under your feet. That's because it is. But not to make you fall, to make you move. You are being repositioned for alignment. You are being rerouted toward a version of your life that you couldn't plan because it's beyond the mind's reach. It's soul-directed. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to show me? What new path is trying to emerge from this chaos? What decision are you finally being forced to make? Not out of fear, but out of freedom." This is test number 3. Not about endurance, not about patience, but about perspective. Can you see the divine in the disorder? Can you trust the collapse long enough to witness what it's clearing the way for? Because if you can, what looked like destruction might become your greatest redirection. This isn't just another astrological event, it's a cosmic checkpoint. The Mars-Uranus square isn't here to entertain your curiosity about the stars. It's here to shake you into alignment with a version of yourself that you've been resisting out of fear, habit, or illusion. This portal doesn't ask for small adjustments. It demands transformation. And the reason it feels so intense right now is because you're not only dealing with this moment, you're dealing with every moment you've delayed your becoming. When Mars ignites Uranus, it ignites the deepest corners of your subconscious. It exposes the roots of your resistance. It throws lightning into the cracks of your timeline, and suddenly, everything starts moving faster. Have you noticed how the things that once felt far away now feel urgent? The dreams you postponed are now impossible to ignore. The lessons you thought you'd already mastered are circling back with force. That's not regression, that's acceleration. This portal is correcting your course. It's collapsing false timelines. It's pulling you out of loops that would have kept you stuck for another cycle. And what makes it so powerful and so uncomfortable is that it doesn't wait for your permission. It doesn't care if you feel ready, because your soul is. And your higher self is tired of waiting for your fear to catch up. The truth is, this portal isn't just opening. It's closing behind you, meaning the version of your life that you lived in hesitation, in avoidance, in almosts, that version is no longer accessible. You can't go back to sleep now. You can't unfeel what your body is sensing. You can't unknow the truth that's rising in your heart. Have you been feeling an unexplainable urgency? A pull towards something undefined, yet undeniably real? That's your future self, calling you from across the collapse. That's your alignment asking you to move, not perfectly, but authentically. The reason this portal changes everything is because it requires you to choose. Not with your words, not with your desires, but with your decisions. Are you choosing alignment when no one's watching? Are you choosing courage over comfort, even when it breaks your routine? This is where timelines split. This is where fate stops being a concept and becomes a direction. This is where you stop surviving your life and start living your purpose. The Mars-Uranus alignment doesn't want you to merely awaken. It wants you to evolve, to embody, to act. Because knowing your truth means nothing unless you live it. So ask yourself now, what would my life look like if I stopped delaying my transformation? Who would I be if I trusted this portal with everything I have? Because when you see the bigger picture, the discomfort becomes devotion. The chaos becomes clarity. And your path, though uncertain, becomes undeniably yours. In the heart of cosmic chaos, your ability to stay grounded becomes your greatest superpower. With the Mars-Uranus alignment, igniting volatility in both the collective and personal timelines, many are feeling shaken, pulled in too many directions, or trapped between massive realizations and a life that no longer fits. This isn't just psychological tension, it's energetic combustion. The ground beneath your feet is shifting, and the test is not about running or escaping. The test is about remaining. Mars brings action. Uranus brings disruption. Together they tear through anything false, weak, or misaligned. So it's no wonder you've been feeling like everything is happening at once. Old relationships resurfacing, plans collapsing, unexpected detours appearing out of nowhere. But before you call it chaos, ask yourself, what if it's divine intervention, breaking the illusions you were never meant to build your future on? The mistake many make during these energies is trying to fix what's falling. But grounding isn't control, it's presence. True grounding means choosing stillness even when your mind is spiraling. It's being able to witness your fears without feeding them. It's remembering that your energy is your home, and no external event can uproot you unless you give it permission. So, how do you ground yourself while everything explodes? First, anchor into your body. Breathe deeply, move slowly, and don't abandon your physical self in search of answers. The wisdom is already within you, but it requires embodiment, not escape. Second, simplify. Eliminate the noise, the extra inputs, the distractions, pretending to be urgency. This isn't a time to overbook or overthink. It's a time to feel with clarity. Let your inner compass recalibrate without trying to rush the process. Have you been craving silence lately? Feeling called to nature, to solitude, to your own breath? That's not avoidance, that's medicine. The external world may be erupting, but the inner world is whispering, and only those who slow down enough to hear it will receive the clarity that this portal holds. Most importantly, remember, grounding isn't a passive state. It's a conscious act of claiming your center, again and again, no matter what swirls around you. The storms outside are not stronger than the soul within. So as this energy peaks, ask yourself, am I reacting from fear or responding from truth? Am I chasing stability or creating it from within? Because when you are grounded, you become unshakable, not because the world is calm, but because you are. And in the face of explosions, your stillness becomes your revolution.